Welcome back to the In the Clinic podcast with Rob. And if you are looking to find my 4 rules to stay lean after the age of 40, then this is the podcast for you. So my friends, today we are back in the saddle with the podcast to go over my non-negotiable rules for dieting. Not so much dieting, but mainly for the rules to live by with your nutrition that I follow to try and keep my weight in check over the age of 40. Because here's the truth. Your body changes over the age of 40. We know that. Fat accumulates faster, energy drops, the old workouts or the eating plans that you used to see work for you, they just don't work anymore. So if you're stuck, if you're in that I'm eating the same, but I'm gaining weight cycle, then this is the episode for you. Again, my name is Rob Sumner. I'm a physical therapist. I'm an athletic trainer. I'm a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I own Sumner Specialized Physical Therapy, Specialized Massage, Specialized Strength. We're just specialized through the roof here, and we help people over the age of 40. We help them improve their health, their wellness, their longevity. We end up repairing, rebuilding, and redefining what's possible in people's lives. So if that sounds like you are in the right spot, because we are looking for you to become more energetic and fulfilled in your life. So today, let's get into it. So before we really break into my 4 principles for maintaining your weight over the age of 40, and these are ones that I live by myself. First, we got to figure out why. Why are individuals gaining weight over the age of 40? So if we break this down and we look across the board, we say, hey, what is the reason? We have women and we have men. Both of them have the same type of limitations. They both will gain weight over the age of 40, but why? We always talk about some of these changes they go through. For men, the biggest change is testosterone. So these changes with men will dramatically decrease after the age of 45. So by 45, it starts going down. By 55, it starts going down dramatically. We're seeing a huge decrease by the age of 55, start going down without any intervention. For women, what do we get? We get perimenopause, and we get actual menopause. So what does this mean? We get a big decrease in estrogen, okay? So both of these factors will change hormones in men and women. You're going to see that across the board. You're going to see those changes. You're going to see a slower metabolism. You're going to see an increase in belly fat. You're going to see a decrease in lean muscle mass. This is your metabolic engine. So now on top of that, for men and women, we're going to increase a couple factors. Well, putting these in red because they matter. We're going to increase stress. This is going to increase your cortisol levels. Why does that matter? Because we get decreased sleep, we get more stress, increased cortisol levels. That's all going to contribute to us taking less time to care for ourselves. And you've got it. This is a recipe for creeping weight gain and truly rising inflammation in your body. That's what we're really talking about, rising inflammation. Weight gain is just a symptom that your mitochondrial balance is out of whack. That's all it is. So what used to work in your 30s, maybe in your 20s, might not even make a dent anymore. And that's why I follow these 4 rules with consistency, not perfection. Again, just consistency. I'm not perfect with them. I still falter, but it's something I always go back to that serves me. And I want to share that with you because I also utilize these with our clients in our Premier Personal Training program. So if you're an individual over 40 that wants to learn these in depth and get the support necessary to help you follow through with them on, well, talk to me about the Premier Personal Training program. So here are the 4 that I try and follow all year round to help try and stay as lean as I can for longevity, to stay energized, and really just to maximize what I'm trying to do with my life. So number 1, the first rule that I have across the board, hands down, and this is something that I learned from Gary Brecka and Paul Salandino. We're looking at number 1, no seed oils. Number 1, no seed oils. Why? What is the big deal about seed oils? This is one of the major rules that I live by, because seed oils like canola oil, soybean oil, we got soybean, we've got safflower, we've got sunflower. These are all highly processed, commercially or chemically extracted. They're extremely unstable. Just take canola oil, which is made from rapeseed. I've done a full podcast on just seed oils, and they're extremely unstable, which means that they're often heated multiple times. They're treated with solvents like hexene, and then they're bleached and deodorized just to make them look clean. But make no mistake, these oils are toxic to our system. This is one of the highest inflammatory things you can put into your body that's going to start disrupting your mitochondrial balance. And this is how they hurt. They're rich in omega-6 fatty acids. So with an excess in these fats, you're going to get your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is going to be completely out of whack. They're going to be completely out of whack. You don't want to have an out of whack omega-3 to omega-6 balance. And the more omega-6 we start eating, consuming from the foods that we're eating that have seed oils in them, it's going to create more of an omega-6 predominance, which will not be good for us. If they're rich in omega-6 fatty acids in excess, it's going to promote chronic systemic inflammation. This is the root of every major chronic disease that you see. The other thing that this is going to do is it's going to increase the LDL cholesterol levels, especially small dense LDL particles, which are more dangerous. So you're going to see an increase from your seed oils from those. They're going to damage your cell membranes, and that's going to impair your mitochondrial function, which puts us again out of whack and creates more free radicals. And these are things that are put as fillers in every bit of food because they're super cheap. They're subsidized by the government. So they're going to be super cheap in all of your processed foods. They're going to be on all of your shelf foods, from crackers, cereals, dressing, frozen meals, even so-called healthy protein bars you're going to find have seed oils in them. And when you flood the body with these oils, you're going to increase inflammation markers across the board. You're going to get joint pain. You're going to get gut issues. You're even going to get brain fog that's going to stem from these. So what do I use instead? Okay. What do I use instead of seed oils? Here are my top ones. I use olive oil. I use coconut oil. I use ghee. And our old friend, butter. Butter is not bad. Okay? Don't be afraid of butter. The other one I love to use, especially for high temperature cooking, is avocado oil. So the more high temperature cooking, sauteing, I'll use avocado oil. It has a smoke point of 500, a little bit above. So you're going to be able to use that for a lot of your sauteing. Olive oil, some people will say at a high temperature, it is not as stable and it's not as good for you. But olive oils, you'll see a lot used for dressings and some of those. So olive oil, I go to one a lot. Butter, I'll use a lot as well. Coconut oil, sometimes. That's just my own personal choice. Okay. But first of all, number one, ditch the seed oils. Let's get rid of the seed oils. That's rule number one I live by. Okay. Rule number two is let's limit how much actual sugar goes into our body. So I've done a full podcast, a lot of our 4% talks, which we do every Wednesday at noon. I've done a ton on insulin resistance. And when we look at insulin resistance, every time we really bring sugar into our body, it's going to drive up our insulin levels. So let's break this down simply. When we look at table sugar is called sucrose. And this is a combination of fructose and glucose. It's a combination that makes that. That's your simple table sugar. So glucose, that can be used up immediately in every cell of the body for energy. Fructose, however, is a different story. It must be metabolized by the liver, and that process is challenging. So if you overload your liver with fructose, like from soda, fruit juice, sweet snacks, or even healthy granola bars, it turns into fat eventually, just like alcohol does. Alcohol has a hard time being metabolized fully by the liver as well. So the body doesn't know what to do with fructose or alcohol. So what does it do? It converts it to fat and puts it around the liver. And this is why we're now seeing a higher level of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This is exploding in children and adults around the US. It's the fastest growing chronic disease in the United States, and it's driven almost entirely by fructose and processed sugar. So what does this mean for you? Processed foods, even healthy ones, are loaded with these hidden sugars. Just look at your breads. Your breads have sugar put into them. All that white bread. So this sugar leads to increased blood sugar spikes, which leads to insulin surges. And that over time, that constant loading of insulin over and over and over and over and over, we constantly get insulin being produced. Well, once your body has a blood sugar level of about over 100, it starts releasing insulin. So if you're constantly eating and you're eating higher levels of sugar, well, that's going to create more insulin resistance. Because over time, that insulin resistance is what causes weight gain, especially around the belly. Because insulin is a growth hormone. That's why you see in women that are growing baby inside of them, they get an increased surge of insulin. It's a growth hormone. So if you're constantly releasing insulin, what are you going to grow? You're going to grow more fat on your body. So the more that you're using insulin, the more belly fat you're going to develop. And this also is why that people get chronic fatigue, they get brain fog, they get different cravings because insulin's constantly being spiked. You're going to now get from this sugar, this fructose, this sucrose, this glucose, you're going to constantly get high inflammatory factors in your body. This too is going to disrupt your mitochondrial health. So my rule is simple. One, I limit the amount of pure sugar that I eat, period. Now, I do have some rules like whole organic fruits. I go towards those because those have fiber in them, and fiber is another podcast that talks about what it's actually doing in your body with related to fructose so that it blunts that response. Honey is another really interesting one because honey is almost pure fructose as well. However, the body will process that a little bit differently. Another day for another podcast. But my general rule is I limit the amount of sugar that I eat daily. So there's some simple swaps. Berries. Instead of getting high sugary type fruits, berries are probably the lowest sugar content that you can get of all the fruits. So choose berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries. Your dark chocolate that has an 85% amount of cocoa in it, it's going to be lesser in the sugar load as well. So if you need a little sweet just to get you over, that's usually a better choice as long as it's not laden with a whole bunch of sugar. Other thing is avoid all of your sodas. I have a general rule, don't drink your calories. So get rid of all of the sodas, go for a sparkling water. Usually those are flavored with a natural flavoring, a lemon, a lime, a mango. and you're going to get very, very little to zero sugar in them, and it will have that carbonated drink that's more of a habit than it is and a craving than anything. So rule number 2, limit sugars, okay? Rule number 3 that I live by, intermittent fasting. So across the board, number 3, we've got intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting has become more popular because of the effects that it does on insulin. So the longer you go without eating in one duration of time, it's going to drop all the blood sugar that's in your body, and your body will start taking fat off of your abdominal region and inside the muscle in the subcutaneous layer, and it's going to use that for energy. So if you're not producing or excreting insulin to bring down blood sugar levels, well, it's going to do the opposite. So the longer that you stay in your fast, it's going to help you reduce your insulin load, which is going to bring down your overall insulin resistance. That's what we want. So for myself personally, I don't eat until 10 a.m. or later. So after 10 a.m., that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to eat after 10 a.m. That's a simple fast. I usually don't close my fast, so I'm open from 10 to about 7 p.m. So if you add that up, that's about 9 hours, which means that I've got about 15 hours that there's no eating. So this is giving my insulin levels a chance to calm down, my body to clean it up. And even if I'm a little bit hungry, that means I'm getting autophagy, where you're getting cells that aren't being used, those senescent cells that are just kind of there, but they're not purposeful anymore. Your body's going to come and eat those up to use them for energy and get rid of them, so it makes your cells more efficient. So here's another rule I have. Let's say, and I said I try and do this consistently, but I'm not perfect. Let's say I eat terribly. Let's say I even eat some seed oils, and I don't do a good job limiting my sugar, my seed oils, or even my intermittent fast. If I've eaten poorly the day before, too much processed food, too late at night, I'll extend my fast into the afternoon. So instead of 10 a.m., I might go to noon or 1. And this gives my system a chance to clean up inflammation, reset digestion, and bring my metabolism back in balance. And here's the crazy part. Sometimes, usually at least once a month, I'll do this for 24 hours. I'll do a 24-hour fast to reset the body, but not just my body, to reset my habits. It clears brain fog, it sharpens focus, and it reminds me of how little food we actually need when we're nourished properly. So here's something to think about. Think about every time that you eat and you eat a big meal, you feel sluggish and tired afterwards and you want to go sleep. Of course you do, because your body, digestive system is now using so much energy to try and break your food down. So if I have any type of big events to do, presentations or other, I try and stay closer to an intermittent fast. Number 2, I don't get a lot of low blood sugar moments because my body has learned to control it by using fat as energy. So if I burn through all my glycogen and glucose, then my body uses fat that's already on my system and brings that in at a reasonable level. Therefore, I stay in that fast and I don't get low blood sugar moments where I get shaky. So overall, intermittent fasting, it's going to help you improve your insulin sensitivity. It's going to create autophagy or cellular repair. It's going to help with your fat metabolism, so you're going to burn more fat on your body, and it's going to help with mental clarity. So just note that intermittent fasting is not punishment. It's not punishment, it's a tool. And when you use it wisely, especially after 40, it can be one of the most effective tools for weight control and for your long-term health. There's different research studies out there that shows that the amount of calories that you consume will determine how long you live. So individuals that stay at a lower caloric intake live longer, even in animal studies. So the other note to make on this is anytime I go into a fast, so 15 hours, sometimes I'll go to a 24-hour fast. When I eat my next meal, the load is the same. Meaning the next meal, same calories. I do not overload. I do not overload and say, now I'm going to go gluttony mode. I'm going to eat everything I can in sight. Because, yeah, we're probably hungry at that point, so we want to go overboard. Try and eat a regular meal, and that is going to help you for maintaining your overall insulin load as well. Okay? So this gets to our last principle. Our last principle is be purposeful with your protein. So with your protein, that's my last rule, be purposeful. I aim for 1 gram of protein for body weight. So if I'm about 190, 195 pounds, I'm going for 190 grams of protein. Now here's the thing. It's not about being perfect and hitting that number every single time. It's really about being intentional every meal to get your protein in, because protein is going to do multiple things in the body, not just build muscle. You're looking to stabilize your blood sugar levels. You're looking to reduce cravings. You're looking to improve your satiety between meals, between fasts. And you're looking to support your overall hormonal health. That's what you're looking for. So I found that when I prioritize protein, whether it be whey protein, eggs, meat, everything else falls into place. I don't have the same cravings of sugar for sucrose. I'm not looking for sweets. I'm finding that I can, by prioritizing protein, I don't eat as much. It's easier for me to stay in my intermittent fast. I don't get low blood sugar drops where my hands are getting shaky. But here's how I make prioritizing protein easier on myself. 1, I try and leave meat thawed in the fridge. So dinner prep isn't a chore, trying to de-thaw meat and get it going. It's already there waiting for me. Or B, I save leftovers for lunch. So we just make 1 meal instead of multiple ones. Protein is already ready to go for the next day, which is about 10 o'clock. But I keep quick protein snacks on hand. One of my go-to is plain Greek yogurt. Plain Greek yogurt with some whey protein powder. That's usually my 10 o'clock meal. It's easy. I get 60 grams of protein in, because I usually go 2 scoops of 20 grams. There's 40 plus a cup and a half of Chobani, which is 14 to 20 grams of protein right from the get-go. Boom. And I'm not sitting there starving and hungry. So every time I eat, I ask myself, where's the protein? And by doing that, it's easier to stay lean, it's easier to stay energized, it's easier to stay consistent. So the biggest mistake that I see for individuals over the age of 40 is this one right here. Over the age of 40, they don't get enough. Be aware, they don't get enough protein. They undereat protein. And actually, the closer you get to 60, 70, 80s, your satiety factor changes to where you just don't feel like eating as much. Food doesn't taste the same. Your taste buds have changed. They're dulled, they're lessened. So the problem is now we're seeing people not get enough protein. So it's more essential than ever. And on top of it, over the age of 65, your gut acid levels change. So you don't even, when you break down that chicken breast in your stomach, the bioavailability is even less. You actually defecate more of it out. So the problem is we need to get more protein in as we age, not less. So let's bring this home. There are 4 diet rules that I live by that you can apply to yourself today. Okay? And it might feel overwhelming, but don't worry. You don't need to master all these at once. Okay? Here's what I recommend. Number one, ditch the seed oils. That's number one. Get rid of those seed oils. Just start looking at all of your packages and look for those canola oils, vegetable oils, soybean oils, safflower oils. If it has it in the package, don't eat it. Just get rid of those. Cut out the inflammation at its root. Get rid of them. Number two, decrease sugar. Try and go for less than 50 grams a day. Less than 50. Ideally, try and get less than 25 of pure sugar. Okay? Stop feeding fat storage. Insulin is chaos. Control it. The next is intermittent fasting. Shoot for an 8-hour window, meaning that, shoot for a 10-hour window. Because to go to 8, sometimes it's too hard for people when they start. So shoot for a 10-hour window, somewhere from like 9 to 7. And only eat during those times. Shoot for only 3 meals a day. And don't snack. When it's time to eat, eat. And that way your insulin doesn't keep going up with every snack that you're eating. You just eat. It brings your insulin back down once it's digested, and then you don't bring it back up again. So there's only a couple times a day that you're going to be using insulin. So that's how it gets more sensitive. Okay? So reset your habits, restore your health, control your hunger. And the last is protein. Okay? Control your protein. Shoot for 1 pound, 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's going to be very hard for some people and feel overwhelming. So don't even think about the gram per pound. Don't even measure it. I just want you to get purposeful about protein and think, how can I add protein to each meal? Do that first, and then later you can measure it and see where you're at. But if this feels overwhelming, these 4, don't worry. You don't have to master every one at once. You don't. So here's what I recommend. Week 1, let's cut out seed oils. Okay? Week 1, cut out seed oils. Then week 2, let's get rid of sugar and start minimizing that to the lowest levels. Week 3, let's start intermittent fasting. And by week 4, you're driving your protein levels with every single meal. Okay? So this is the same framework, the exact same framework that I teach for our individuals that are in our 4% Club. And the 4% Club is where we go deeper into food, fasting, fitness, and lifestyle habits that actually work, especially for people that are 40 and older. So overall, if you're interested in learning more detail on this and getting courses or any updates, be able to talk to me directly with your health and wellness, then you too can join our 4% Club. And this is a monthly membership that we have all of our best members come a part of. It's a closed private membership to where you can get these questions answered and get all of the sustainable content collected in one spot, so that you can start making the biggest improvement with your health, wellness, and fitness, especially if you're an individual over 40. So if this helped you, share it to a friend, share it to somebody that you care about. Stay strong, stay focused, and stay happy. I'll see you next time on the next video. Thanks for watching today.